So before we start the death conversation this week, I kind of wanted to wrap up the intuition conversation because I realized that I'm not giving you guys all of the information that might be helpful through this. So a few of you have asked about the process, and I apologize straight up right now because I've never explained my process to anybody. To me, I've done it for so long that it just happens normally, and I haven't broken it down into what I'm doing. So let's talk about how my process of intuition works. I'm not saying that's how your process is going to be, but my process might give you an indication of things that maybe you could be doing, and maybe your process works similar. Because I haven't really talked to anybody else who does what I do, I'm not entirely sure that everybody's is the same. So let's have a conversation about that. So when I do a reading, when the person calls me, their loved one already knows what they're doing. They know before I know, right? Because their loved one has sort of sent that bat signal out that they want to talk to that person. So that person shows up about the same time or a little bit before the person makes the phone call to schedule with me. When the person calls me and I don't see a person over my shoulder, that usually indicates to me that they want to talk about something that's going on in their life. So the outcome of a lawsuit or a relationship or a job, something like that. Sometimes it's both. I've noticed that lately the dead don't show up as often over my left shoulder as they used to, but that's usually how it works. So as long as I feel like there's either a dead person there or I can sense that they have information, I call it my inbox. It's just a feeling that, yeah, there's something there that they need to know, and the information is going to come through. I'll schedule the appointment with them. So the day of the appointment, I don't put a lot of thought into what's coming, right? Because I don't have any context for whatever information is going to come. That said, when I sit down to start to talk to the client, the information starts coming. So what happens is, as soon as I sit down, don't want to know anything. I know your name because we've obviously scheduled this. I know your phone number. That's all I know about you. And I'm not going to ask you anything else, except where do you want to start? Is there someone who's crossed that you want to talk to? Or do you want to know information about what's going on with you right now or in the future? So they let me know which way to look. Sorry if you're hearing something, the dogs are playing like right off camera. So I let them just tell me what direction you want me to look. Is it someone who's crossed or is it information? That's all I'm going to ask you. Then let's say that it's just information. They just want to know information about what's coming next. I don't ask them to say anything else, but I'll try to connect with something that's going on. So the way that I see this is the person is the center of, like, the bottom of a circle. And from them, lines start to appear. One might be relationships. One might be their work or their career. One might be legal issues. One might be their health. And they show up as different weights. So, when you're in Excel or you're using some computer program that allows you to select the weight of a line, it's sort of like that. So the thicker lines to me are the ones that are the most important to the person right now, or the most recent. So maybe those are the ones that they've really focused on. I'll start there with whatever that thickest line looks like, and I'll tell them what that information is. And by doing that, first I'll say, all right, you've got something going on with your health. Is there something that you're concerned about right now? Just yes or no. And they'll say yes. Okay, now I know that health is definitely one. And then I'll start looking at that information. Is it, where in the body is it? And and all of this happens really quickly. So I kind of start at their neck and go down. Is it their neck? No. Is it their chest? No. Is it their stomach? Yes. All right, what part of their stomach? Is it digestion? No. Is it food intake? No. Is it their inability to gain weight? Yes. Okay, so I'm sensing that you are having some issues around your stomach and you're not able to gain weight. Does this sound right? And they'll say yes. Okay, now we know we're on the right track. I don't do medical readings. I'm going to put that out there right now. I can usually see what's wrong with the person physically. I'm not a medical professional. I don't do medical readings. So I'm not going to diagnose you. But if something comes up in a reading that's physical, I am going to say you might want to see a doctor about this. You're not going to die. I'm not getting anything horrible about this, but you definitely want to talk to a healthcare professional. So that aside, PSA warning over. I just follow those lines, but it's literally asking myself over and over and over, does this feel right or does it feel wrong? Is this correct? Is this incorrect? And every question after it's answered yes or no has the follow-up question with what's next. So you get to the right point and then you ask the next question. Okay, well, what's next? Does that feel right? And then when it does, what's next? Does that feel right? It's doing it quickly that is the issue. So as you're starting to learn to do this, it is all a matter of deduction. It's not very often that I sit down with a person and literally tell them, your name is John Black. You were born on a cold Tuesday in 1976. Your mother's name was Mary, and your father was born to a poor Irish immigrant family. I don't get that kind of information. I wish I did. Every now and then I'll get something really specific. Like last week, I did a reading for a wonderful woman out in California who was so fun to read for. And there was a woman who came through right away and she said, you've got to tell her I'm dancing again. You've got to tell her I'm dancing again. And I could see her dressed in this amazing outfit and she was doing like the Lindy Hop. And I asked her, did you lose someone recently? Who she says she's dancing again and she's dressed up to go to the party. I feel like you've had her funeral already. All of this is asking yes or no questions. Yes or no. Did she die? When did she die? Was it recently? All this stuff. But I can see what she looks like. So I tell her and she's like, oh my God, I know exactly who this is. She was my 95-year-old friend who died last week, and she's the one who inspired the USO dances in the military back in the day. So every now and then something will come through that clearly. I still didn't get her name. Couldn't tell you when she died or how old she was. You showed me herself. She looked like she was maybe 40. She did not look 95. So it's pulling little strings and figuring out what those little strings of information are so that you can get to the reading and then learning to do that quickly. So don't get discouraged if you feel like you're not making progress. So what you can do is connect to me when we do those practice your intuitions. By and large, those are bullshit. They're just to help you start to figure out how your intuition works. How are you getting your information? Once you figure that out, the rest is just practice.